Today, we're going to be creating a build pipeline in ShuttleOps. In order to do that, we navigate to the Build tab and click Create New Build Pipeline. Here, the first thing that we need to select is the code base. As you can see, it's errored out because it's not selected. So we hit the code icon, and then we can see we can add a VCS repository, depending on our VCS provider. Right now, I'm authenticated using GitHub, so I can have access to my GitHub repositories. If I was a member of other GitHub organizations, I'd be able to have access to those repositories as well. Here, I'm going to use a repository named Golang Habitat Hello World. I'm going to add it. And once I add it, we can see that there is a green check mark saying that our repository is buildable. What makes it buildable is this habitat directory right here. If we go into the habitat directory, we can see a plan file and a hooks directory. And within the hooks directory, there is a run hook. This is the minimum set of components required to build a Chef Habitat package that can be loaded as a service. Now, those components that we saw in the habitat directory can be moved out to the top level. So if we had a plan file and a hooks directory at the top level, we'd be able to have that green check mark as well and use this repository to build in our build pipeline. If you want more information on exactly how to build a Chef Habitat package, we have a two-part tutorial series totaling 40 minutes where we explore in depth a lot of the Habitat features such as health checks, configurations, and default variables. And we go by step using a real program that we're packaging and running using ShuttleOps. So because this is buildable, we can now select where we're building this to. And this is a list of origins that my Chef Habitat Builder connection has access to. And this one right here is a default one for my connection. So I'm just going to leave it as that. And I'm actually ready to hit launch. But I want this build pipeline to be automated. The most common trigger that we can use in order to make this an automated pipeline is the on-push trigger. This is similar to if you've ever used other CI/CD systems and you push a commit to master and the pipeline kicks off. Well, this on-push build trigger does exactly that. We can select the repository, and here we're selecting the Golang Habitat Hello World repository that we just saw in GitHub. And we hit save. And this means that every time a commit goes to master in this repository, this pipeline is going to be kicked off. Now, there are other build triggers that we can use, for example, the scheduled build trigger. And I can do nightly builds, for example, every night at 9 p.m. and save that. And on top of that, we can also have pipeline triggers. Now, we can use another pipeline that already exists. And when that build pipeline runs, this will be kicked off. This isn't entirely useful for this particular example, but we could have a monorepo. For example, this is the official Chef Habitat set of core plans. And this repository has many Chef Habitat packages defined. If we go, for example, to this 7-zip package, we can see they have the plan.sh, although you can't load this as a service. And what you can do is you can create a build pipeline for 7-zip. You would have to go back to this code and select a plan file in 7-zip, for example. And once you create this pipeline, you can create another pipeline and link it to the 7-zip pipeline. So what would happen is 7-zip would build, and then something else would build. 7-zip isn't exactly the best example because it is not a service, but you get the idea with monorepos. So that's what this trigger would be used for, but unfortunately in this case it doesn't apply. So I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm happy with this build pipeline, so I'm going to hit launch. Now that it's launched, I can click it and I can look at its logs. And we can see that it is starting up and now it's going to build.